Hello, true duelists. My name is Craig Fee, and as always, welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Update. In the ongoing adventure of metagame reporting, YCS NIagara took place last weekend to maximum capacity and beyond. Shoutouts to Buzz Lightyear. Yes, with the event completely sold out, Friday's registration ended with a raffle of the 20 or so available seats for the event to some 100 number of players, easily in the 100 to 300 range, without exaggeration. But unlike the European YCS Dusseldorf in 2019, those not playing simply had to deal with it. Probably a skill issue. Still, the event went on, and of course there was a winner. Did Mystic Mind ruin yet another tournament? No! This time Catholicism did. I'm sorry, did I say Catholicism? I meant Exorcisters. Apologies to the Catholics. More importantly, congratulations go out to Raymond Dye for winning out the event with Exorcisters, the only non-Tierlament deck in the top 4. And with Sprite only getting one single spot in the top 8, it seems safe to say, Konami, please do not kill Swap Frogs. I play Paleo, please dude. Let's just be chill, let's just calm down. I don't want to have to lose out on all that money and all that frog. Moving on from my desperate pleas for the inevitable to not happen, as it most certainly will, I will say about the top 8 that this was a pretty damn stacked event. Those names right there have more tops between them than most players have gone to events at all, probably. Still, Exosister now has more tops than Sprite and Tierlaments combined for YCSs in the TCG, and that right there is funnier than any single joke I could try to write or come up with. And speaking of jokes, the memes! Yes, because there was no stream of any games, just blog posts about them, Konami saw fit to give us this absolute gem of a picture, showing renowned player Jesse Cotton at the exact moment his opponent hit him with Dimension Shifter. It brings me some level of joy to know that my reaction to blowouts like Shifter is the same as an actual good player's reaction. Misery does love company, after all. This was compounded by Jesse's now infamous tweet about Mystic Mind having become a copy pasta in the community, which of course was spun back at him about Dimensional Shifter. My sympathies go to Jesse. He is still a phenomenal player and has been second place at the last 2 YCSs, which is no small feat. I say this with no disrespect, but good God, do I love a good copy pasta. Thank you so much for that, dude. In other YCS news, YCS Minneapolis, set to take place the weekend of October 22nd and 23rd, has had online registration opened to players as of September 13th. Players who had registered for the cancelled YCS Pasadena or YCS Las Vegas both earlier in 2022 did have earlier access to registration on the 12th, and then generally it's now open as of the 13th. And as was with Niagara, players who register their deck lists before the Friday of the event can get a special Yu-Gi-Oh! Coin. Oh boy. And if you learned anything from Niagara, if you are booking a hotel and or a flight, register for the event properly too. It's like 5 minutes of your time. In the land of not North America, Konami also announced YCS Utrecht to take place the weekend of October 14th, with pre-registration now open for that as well. Yes, after its cancellation in January this year, Utrecht is back, and European players can remind North American players that they exist outside of like Farfa's accent, I guess? I don't know. In card news, let's start with Darkwing Blast for a piece of news I missed last week. The premiere for Darkwing Blast will be on the weekend of October 15th, and the card you can receive with your 5 packs is an ultra-rare copy of Muckracker from the Underworld. I don't know if that's news that this card's official name is Muckracker, but don't worry, it was translated from Japanese and is therefore the single worst thing to have ever happened at any point online ever. Keep doing your thing, Twitter. Fucking bird app. Also this week, Photon Hypernova has had a steady stream of new cards revealed, with legacy support for some unexpected decks and new toys for that Shatri Law deck as well. I've already done a midweek update that you can check out for the full coverage of every card revealed thus far, to keep this video from being longer than the side event lines were at YCS NIagara, because that shit was long and slow, let me tell you. But even with that video put out yesterday, there are still more new cards. Almost like that's the core reason that I chose to make this a series, that there's always something new. Who said that? The OCG Selection 5 set, a side set consisting of reprints of cards for 5 specific archetypes, with each archetype getting 2 alternate arts, has had 3 of the specific archetypes revealed, namely Dragon Maid, Trains, and Sky Striker. Good news for fans of those decks, and relevant to this video, includes 5 new Spell and Trap featuring art of those archetypes. Don't get too excited though, they aren't direct support for those decks, just generic cards featuring art of the archetypes. Thus far, 2 have been revealed. Sweet Room Maid is a generic quick play featuring the Dragon Maids that reads, if a card or cards is sent from the hand and or deck to the grave, you can target 1 card in either grave and shuffle it into the deck, and has a hard once per turn. Seems like a niche answer to Foolish Burial effects, and a good side card in specific formats. Not too bad, and the artwork is cute. But that's not really all that funny, so instead I'm gonna say that I still don't know if those are meant to be dragons masquerading as women, or women who are also part dragon, so what the fuck is going on with Dragon Maids? I still do not understand. The other new card is Switch Point, a normal trap card. If the opponent controls 3 or more monsters, you choose one of them, and then the opponent either sends it to the graveyard or all other monsters they control to the graveyard. It's the fucking trolley problem. It's the fucking trolley problem in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's just that. Do you save the one you care about and let everything else die, or sacrifice the one to save the many? That is amazing. That is one of my favorite new cards. I want to run 3 of that in all decks. The Dragon Maid art card is like so much better practically speaking, but this card means that I can throw moral quandaries at my opponent thrice per duel if I draw right. Yeah, sign me up. For the alt arts, only 2 have been confirmed thus far. The alt art for House Dragon Maid, seen here, with Chamber on it, so someone's probably a little too excited, and the alt art for Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. Neat. Also big this week, the release of the 2022 Megatins. Yes, a set promising reprints of Forbidden Droplet, and Lightning Storm, and Pot of Prosperity, Ash Blossom, Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, and more. And as people opened their tins, quickly found out, not many of those prints to go around. I may put out a case opening video tomorrow, because good Christ, I should at least get a video out of that case of tins, if nothing else. Look, I can understand and support the idea of buying packs or product. The opening of a pack is fun, and the joy of pulling a good card yourself is much more rewarding than the package arriving in the mail after $100 left your bank account a few days or weeks ago. But even as someone who does like buying bulk packaged product, I would advise you to get 1 tin for yourself just for the fun of the pull, and then stick to singles. You'll hear that every damn time. But even as someone who does advocate for buying the Konami product as just an all-out shill as a consumer, those pull rates fucking suck, dude. That shit was abysmal. Also this week, ban list news. Yes, that's right, the ban list. The news that you've been waiting for. It's still not here, keep waiting. Keep seething, as everyone has been on Twitter. But in what is yet another joke, funnier than one that I could personally come up with, the OCG has received another ban list. Their second one since the last one we got here in the TCG. We have now received 2 OCG ban lists, a Duel Links ban list, a Master Duel ban list, and even the banned players list, but the TCG has yet to see its next ban list. As I say, enjoy the Minds and the Shifters, and apparently just play Exo Sisters. I don't know why I wrote that. I literally never say that. But moving on, the OCG ban list dropped, and it was actually quite a big one, banning Union Carrier and more notably Wandering Griffin Rider, effectively killing the Adventurer engine as a generic tool for decks. This is the best way to force it out of the meta, I suppose, and it seems the OCG will show us just how true that may or may not be in the coming months. And I say that because in the limits, they went in on Sprite and Tiers, meaning Adventurer decks might have a chance, or maybe they would have if they still had Griffin Rider. Sprite had 4 hits, with limits to Swap Frog, Sprite Jet, and Sprite Starter, on top of the Union Carrier ban, and tier limits had 5 hits, with the limiting of the field spell, 2 limits to each of the Ishizu cards that are good, Agido the Ancient Sentry and Keldo the Possessed Statue, as well as limiting Herald of the Orange Light, and Havness was semi-limited as well. All pretty substantial hits to the decks, though tiers will still be playable in a manner that is very similar to what it is now in the TCG, so do not think that they are gone just yet. Other notable hits for them included the limiting of both Fluwanderee's map and Yatagarasu, with the face of the ban list now being free worldwide. Oh, and Tornscaled went to 2. LOL is literally what I wrote. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I'm deadass just gonna say LOL out loud. That is the best possible way to summarize the semi-limiting of Tornscales in a format where tier exists. Like, what does this mean for the TCG? Nothing beyond more speculation. My guess is that since we rarely get the same hits as the OCG, and as someone who plays Mermail, Deep Sea Diva is going to 1, and so is Swap Frog, and I hate my life. And please, for the love of all that is holy, ban Snow again. That shit should not be legal. It's so good. I apologize to the tiers who want to abuse it, but my tears are real tears of anguish, whereas your tears are just the cards you're milling from your deck. Please just let me play. No bias, I'm a gamer. In community news, Farfa's Subathon came to an end after 13 days of content. A huge congrats go out to him, and a huge sum of money goes into his bank account, I'm sure. Jokes aside, it is a showcasing that the Yu-Gi-Oh community isn't quite as small as we might think it is sometimes. That or it's way more dedicated than I can comprehend, and either way, there's plenty of interesting and entertaining collabs which are sure to come out on Farfa's channel soon enough. Once again, congrats go out to one of the greats of Yugi-tubing and streaming. Other community news, one Paul of Team APS sent out this tweet stating that if you don't like Yu-Gi-Oh, you will die alone. This comes in sharp contrast to the number of players on Dueling Book that I've encountered that claim to like Yu-Gi-Oh but are so toxic and immature that they'll surely be dying alone too. Which, if that's the case, means that a lot of us are going to be dying alone. What a fucking tweet. And lastly, in community news, it's about me, the star of the show. I've officially been monetized on this channel, and I want to give out another thanks just in terms of the support I've received in comments and in the channel views and all that stuff. As someone whose dream it is to hopefully one day be able to do this for some amount of money that can qualify as a living, and, you know, not be stuck working a job that I hate with a passion. Shoutouts to the chip company. My blood boils when I remember that you exist. Sincerely, a thank you. This is the first step, the earliest stage in what I would consider being successful on this channel. So thank you so much. And I cannot wait to see where I can take this channel in the future. Speaking of taking this channel somewhere, seeing as how I'm the channel and I just went somewhere, if you were at all curious about what video I'd be posting about my trip to YCS Niagara, don't be. The files from the SD card I brought with me all corrupted. Actually, that's not true. I do have this test footage I took on the day I arrived there of a boat in the water, and that's it. That's the only file that isn't useless. So there you go. I'm trying to recover them, but honestly, it's not looking all that likely. So there it is, the shittiest footage of a boat that you'll see on this channel. That's my Niagara video as I jiggle the cam and focus and unfocus to see I'm gonna have to come up with something else for the 1,000 sub special, I suppose. C'est la vie, the band marches on, but yeah, if anyone's wondering what's going on with that, quite a day ruiner, I can assure you. A useless tidbit about my time from Niagara is that my channel was actually approved for monetization on 9/11. Under any other circumstance, the day that it got approved wouldn't be all that important to me moving forward, but I just feel like waking up on 9/11 and getting an email and being like, yeah, in a good mood, and it's like I'm in Niagara Falls, and so there's not no Americans near me, and like they had fireworks every night, so like I had a few drinks at a bar and then went and watched the fireworks and was in kind of a good mood, but then there's all these Americans around me that are in less of a good mood on account of the tragedy. Yeah, I don't know if that's funny or not. It was a very surreal moment for me, and like I said, all I've got is a fucking boat, so there you go. That's my Niagara video. And on that wonderfully warm piece of news, we'll wrap up this week's update. As always, I'm your host, Craig Fee, and make sure you subscribe to YGO Strats for next week's update, and so you too can be a true duelist.